Surprise! That probably was a bit of a state change for you, but I did that for a reason. You know, it's so often that we judge people based upon what they look like, based on the number of people that may show up at a meeting or a webinar or an event that you're at, or for any other reason. Prejudging is probably one of the biggest mistakes you can make as a marketer, because you never know who's in your room, you never know who has the money, you never know what their needs are until you know. Now, I've been on the platform as a stage speaker for decades, and it was always interesting that when I would do an event, when it was concluded, and normally the events I would do would generate sales. I would talk for about an hour and a half, and then I would motivate the audience to come back and take one of our trainings. And you never knew with that audience who was interested and who wasn't. I mean, for real, who was going to give you money and who wasn't. Oftentimes the people that were like, yeah, awesome, I'm in, they ran out the door at the end. They never bought. Now, I'm not using it as a generalization. You never knew. Then there were the people that would sit there like this, that were stodgy and gave you this look, and sometimes they acknowledged and sometimes they didn't, and you thought they were a dead audience and they just weren't interested. And yet when you said go to the back table to buy, they bought. You never know who is in your audience. You never know. People that would come dressed as if it was the last pair of clothes they had in the world, the ones that had the most money. It was funny, in the book The Millionaire Next Door, written quite a few years back, there was a whole discussion about the character of millionaires, the makeup of how millionaires live their lives. And they don't drive new cars, they don't buy expensive new flashy suits. They are really unassuming average Joes, or Josephines, if you will. And I want you to recognize that, because if you do prejudge and if you do take a look askance, if you will, at what your audience is, you may find that there's a lot of hidden gold that you're missing. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Recently, I was doing a webinar, and webinars are a fun and interesting model for marketing. You never know who's going to show up, you never know, and you never see them either, of course, and oftentimes you don't even know what their names are, not that that would matter if you've never met them before, but you want big audiences usually, because the bigger the audience, the more opportunity you have to close people into, or motivate people rather, I hate to use the word close, motivate them into what it is you're selling, or what it is you're offering them. And so you want the bigger audience. Well, interestingly enough, if you have a small audience, you can do remarkably well. I had a webinar recently where I had one person, and I thought, oh, this is going to be wonderful. I have a 90-minute presentation. What do I do? Luckily, this person had been through one of my presentations a number of times before, so he wanted to get some more information before he bought. Yes, one thing to remember, people are not necessarily going to buy what you have on the first shot, which most people seem to forget. Most marketers seem to forget that. You need multiple impressions. In fact, if you're taking a sales course, they'll tell you need at least 7 impressions to make the sale. That may be an introduction, it may be a phone call, maybe a postcard, maybe a radio or TV advertisement, it may be another face-to-face meeting or meeting with your team, or their team rather. Depends on what it is that you're selling as to what that sale process will be, but unless there's an acute issue, like for example, if this child was drowning, he wouldn't need multiple impressions, he would need someone to save his life, right? Right now he's taking swim lessons. That would have been an elective purchase for him or for his family. They might have taken a number of different processes with which to make that purchase decision. So if you expect someone to buy the first time out, you're probably going to be disappointed. So here I am on this webinar. I got one person and I got a 90-minute presentation. He'd seen it before, I knew what the name was, so there was some familiarity. What do? Oh, what I did is I unmuted this individual and I said, look, you've been with me before. I could go through the whole presentation again if you'd like, but why don't we do a one-on-one? What can I answer for you? What can we do together? And sure enough, he bought. And in fact, he bought our top package. So this is something to bear in mind. Don't prejudge. Embrace what's given to you, because quite often the universe, or whatever spirit you look at, is incredibly prosperous with you in mind and will serve you in ways you never thought imaginable. That sale that day came in exactly when we needed it. So, lesson for you today is don't prejudge. Be open to what comes your way. And by the way, even if there's not a sale that comes from it, if that person is motivated, that person loves what you're doing, if that person shares your message with others and brings you people from a viral standpoint, you stand to win big time. So go with it. If all it does, if all that experience does is give you a little bit more experience to improve your selling skills, to improve your presentation skills, to improve your skills of patience, for example. You have a huge win. Keep that attitude, you'll make a whole lot more money for you, for your business practice, for everything you're doing in your life. That's it for now. Join our YouTube channel, get more information just like we're giving you today. Hope you're enjoying this. Leave your comments below. Looking forward to seeing you on the next video.